Bad Snacks here, and welcome to The Sauce Factory. We are a new show talking about music production, music technology, music lifestyle, vibes, all the good stuff, talking to a slew of artists, producers, and engineers from all over Los Angeles. And today we have a really special guest. You may know them as one of the most exciting darlings of the EDM community, a legend in the making with co-signs from other producers like Skrillex, artists like Tate McRae, Noisia, Mr. Wazo. I mean, the list goes on, and they're not even old enough to legally party with them yet. So I want to welcome Mor Kismet.
Hello.
To the show. Welcome.
Hi.
I'm so excited to have you.
Likewise, this is going to be awesome. I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. Well, you always have so much going on. Also, I just realized my glasses are on.
Oh, word.
The glasses are coming off.
Oh, wild.
I say that
wild.
as if I'm about to fight you.
Fuck music production. I'm going to beat your ass. Like that.
Can you imagine episode 3 of The Sauce Factory, Bad Snacks versus Mor Kismet? You would kick my ass.
Absolutely not, girl. I can run.
You
Different skill sets.
You running away would hurt my feelings so much. Anyway, we have a lot to cover today because,
Yes.
you are booked and busy. You have a lot going on, including a record.
Yes. This is my child.
Okay, so
currently.
this is the second record because I was listening back to the first record, and honestly,
How was that experience?
wild. Yeah, your first record is crazy. And
Thank you.
I never really put it together until I was doing, a big refresh where I was like, wow, they really put out an hour-long debut record.
I know. Look, listen, Thrive, the label that I'm with, I think initially they wanted me to kind of compartmentalize it more, but I was just like, there is a specific idea I have in mind for this. Now with this album, it's kind of getting longer, and I'm not trying to make it, I'm trying to keep it cute.
You are so prolific.
Thank you.
Your catalog is impressive.
I appreciate that a lot. I'm just I love making everything, and I love making anything I can kind of get my hands on sonically.
Absolutely. You're already touching on so many things that I would love to chat about in your music making. But one thing about you, Mor Kismet, is that you are undeniably a very multifaceted person.
Thank you.
In so many more ways than one, not just the artist, but also you're into so many different kinds of media and also just as a person. How do you define yourself?
I've kind of just began calling myself a multidisciplinary artist. Obviously, I DJ and I produce music and stuff, but I also sing and write a lot of my songs. I also do my own visual art. I'm a visual artist. I do character design, illustration, poster design, everything. And I'm also about to begin making forays as a filmmaker. I've been screenwriting for a really long time, and I'm about to start working on writing and directing my first short film. So it honestly all did stem from these different niche interests I had, both in what I saw in media and just what I naturally gravitated towards in life that made me think, let's give this a shot. And it has been such a blessing because music has been the main thing, but those other art forms have allowed me to not burn myself out and find different points of inspiration to kind of just continue.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I feel like kind of rotating through that balance. This is a little bit of an offshoot. Have you ever heard of the concept of crop rotation?
Crop rotation? I don't believe so.
It's a farming term in agriculture, but hear me out.
Okay.
Hear me out. The idea of crop rotation is that when you're constantly cultivating the same crop, you're constantly draining the soil of the same kinds of nutrients.
Definitely,
And when you rotate out the types of crops, you're actually replenishing that system.
Definitely. That definitely makes sense within that context for sure.
You're a person who's just interested in more than one thing. Right? And we work in an industry and live in a society. We live in a society that is constantly wanting to put things in very understandable boxes.
Yeah.
And it's kind of just like, well, that's not how humans really work.
Exactly.
And
we're outside of this norm that you're kind of attempting to place us in. And I think it's
Yeah.
really interesting to kind of see people finding like their moments breaking outside of those boxes people are trying to place them in.
speaking of boxes and defying boxes, for somebody who has never heard your music, how would you define your music?
I've been using these 3 words that a random fan came up with to describe my music eons ago as a general descriptor for my work. And those 3 words are beautifully controlled chaos.
Ooh.
And I
Ooh.
feel like that is kind of the most accurate description of my work I think I've ever heard
Yeah.
in the almost 9 years I've been doing More Kismet. There are so many different influences that I pull from sonically. Like obviously electronic music is the current grounding point. But I do take inspiration from not even just different forms of electronic music, but I also take inspiration from indie folk, pop music, R&B, rap. Like there are so many different motifs and rhythms and melodic choices that I pull from different artists that I've listened to outside of EDM that I do really strongly resonate with and do try to actively find ways to kind of pay homage to in my work, which is why I feel like at this point I can kind of confidently say that my work sounds like not really many other folks out there, because
Vouch.
they're like I don't want to like be like the braggadocious type. For me, it's like I have like such strong emotional ties to these artists, to these songs, and it's like every single thing that I create is my way of saying thank you to those people who have inspired me, while also kind of figuring out how to say thank you to myself for finding this art form to resonate with.
Oh my God.
So-
Well, that's such a beautiful sentiment. Oh my I remember being put onto your stuff 5 odd years ago.
That's crazy.
I think it was Kilimanzigo, either Kay or Chuck.
If it wasn't Kay, it probably was Chuck.
It
but
was one of them.
Knowing Kay, absolutely.
Yeah.
I already knew Kay from meeting a lot of like the Chicago homies, especially post like from the Harp disbanding, because I think like I didn't really have that many people to talk to after that happened apart from Chuck and Lunamatic, because I was already working on stuff with them for Universe after the group had disbanded. So I was like, that's a whole part of that world I probably will never be able to connect with. And then I met Kay and Chromanichi and, you know, all of the people who I'm very grateful to call friends
We
now
love
that
them
are like
so much.
a part of. They're the best,
They're
the best ever.
Shout out to Philly.
Indeed, Philly. Yeah,
Philly.
man, just the whole East Coast, low key, has some of the best talent on the planet. Like for real, for real.
There's something in the water.
Absolutely.
There's something in
Absolutely.
the Atlantic. That's the only body of water that we have somewhat.
You want to know the one body of
common.
water we do know? That camera. The Gulf of Mexico.
We're dead naming the Gulf.
The same way we're dead naming Twitter.
Hold on. Can I show you something on that note?
Please.
Do you see this? I haven't.
How?
No, you know what I did?
What?
I didn't update the app for 4 years.
Get the fuck
Okay,
out
are
of
you ready
here.
for this?
Uh-huh.
Ooh! I still got Twitter.
There's
bitches.
no way.
I still have Twitter. So you started this project when you were 12.
Yeah, I started it, I believe, in 2016.
Which is an insane thing to say because when I was 12, I was useless.
In middle school, that was kind of like when I really started kind of like putting the pedal to the metal with this stuff. Like we were learning coding and it was so much fun. And on top of that, our teacher was remarkable. She was so encouraging. She was amazing. She actually was the advisor for my friends and I's anime club in school, and we were, in addition to watching like different anime and stuff, we were also like learning how to read, write, and speak Japanese. And it was like the coolest shit ever. Like in middle school,
What middle school did you go to?
I went to Melva Davis Academy of Excellence in Victorville, California, and I'm very
Victorville.
yeah. So for most of my life I lived in Victorville.
And you don't know what crop rotation is? Got him.
Well, see, I lived in the more suburban part of Victorville.
Okay.
And so that's where I was for most of my life, from the ages of 2 to 18. Don't get me wrong, love Victorville, love the memories I made out there. However, it was very boring. It was very strenuous. There were a lot of families that did not know how to properly and positively explain to their children what queer people are, what Black people are, and just the general experience of being within a marginalized community and constantly facing some form of backlash, whether it be from life or from other people, and how not to perpetuate that same behavior yourself. So there were a lot of years where I was like relentlessly harassed by little kids throughout most of my life for the color of my skin, for sounding like this. And I was just like, we're not doing this today. And so like, I'm very fortunate to have been able to, have moved out here, because it has been a life-changing experience for me, finally being able to be closer to people who do understand me and who do, connect with me in that way. But, I think those experiences kind of did just inform how I lead my life and how I treat other people, which is at most with the utmost kindness and respect I can possibly give to a person, unless you don't exude the same to me, in which case suffer. So,
Even the way you said that was so nice.
I was just like,
suffer.
Just perish.
Who were you listening to at that age?
So at that point in my life, I was listening to artists like Above and Beyond, Calvin Harris, Audien, Ferry Corsten, Fedde Le Grand, a lot of like progressive house, trance DJs and stuff. And that was kind of like my base level introduction, especially Calvin Harris, namely. Granted, I'm not super, keeping up with him anymore after he called dubstep Nazi headbanger music, but a lot of his like older music, especially Motion, I still think to this day is one of the absolute best electronic albums of all time. Motion by Calvin Harris, I think it is such a great introductory point for a lot of people into how pop music and dance music can coexist with each other in such a seamless way. And at that time in Calvin Harris's career, I feel like he had such a distinctive sound. He had a lot of signature elements and techniques that he implemented into his work where it was almost instantaneously distinguishable that it was a Calvin Harris record.
Yeah.
And that, I think, was the coolest part about his music when I first got into it when I was younger. But then my goat forever, my dear friend Audien, the first time I listened to Wayfarer by Audien, my life was changed forever. And I would love to be back in that moment listening to that song for the first time again. And experiencing yet again how that made me feel. Starting More Kismet entirely was based on the feeling of, I love what these people's music are doing to me. Let's try to see if I can create something that can make people feel the same way. Now, granted, I was 12 years old. I didn't know jack shit. I had thought of like starting an artist project eons ago.
Before 12?
Well, between
in the
like,
embryo?
As
a zygote?
Well, as a zygote, you're stupid. Honestly, yeah, because I started producing when I was 7, and so wait, you didn't know that?
What do you mean? We're all learning on the job to some extent, but to like learn on the job while also being like, I'm also going through puberty and I feel weird and my body is weird and what's going on? Like, What was that like for you? Because you were already starting a career by the time you were a teenager.
It was rough because, especially during school, I like Hannah Montana the fuck out of my life. Nobody really knew but my friends and
Really?
like 3 teachers who still follow me on IG.
Wow.
That was really it. Nobody else knew that I was doing this, especially once I started getting like the bigger bookings, so like the EDC, the Lollapalooza, the Coachella and stuff. Nobody knew I got that but my friends. And so literally it was just a secret I kept from people because I knew that a lot of the people that I was going to high school with are the same people that like bullied me throughout most of middle school and elementary school.
They don't get to know.
No.
They don't get to, no guest list for you.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
No. Hell no. And so, like I knew that if they found out that I was in their mind this superstar DJ, like, oh my God, are you like Tiesto? Like, no.
I mean, you are playing EDC Las Vegas.
Which is crazy at 16
And
in a fucking
Lollapalooza.
body tight jumpsuit. Like, that was a choice. I knew that like I could not kind of be open about that in the way that I would have liked. I would have wanted to shout at the fucking rooftops that I got booked for Coachella, right?
Right.
But no, literally it was like, I found out I got booked for Coachella at another festival I was doing. I found out at Buku. We were watching my friend Tsunami set, which by the way, I don't know how soon this will be out, but hopefully by the time this is out, my remix for her also will be as well. It's awesome and you should go check it out. We were watching my friend Tsunami set and we were in the audience and I had gotten a ping that said Coachella tagged you in a photo on Twitter. And I opened the shit up and I saw the flyer and my name was like dead in the fucking middle of the lineup.
That's how you found out?
That's how I found out. Because I heard from my manager and my agent at the time, Ben Hogan at UTA, that they were pitching me to do lab and that they were interested, but we didn't know whether or not I had actually gotten the gig or not.
Until it was announced?
Until it was announced.
Oh my God. That's actually wild.
It was I imagine like how I was feeling. Like I was just chilling out, vibing with my friends, having a good time. And then I find out of fucking nowhere, I got like my dream gig at 17 years old. And it's the night before my prom. Like I just like, that was like the most insane shit to have to process in that moment. I like nearly burst into tears. I was so fucking excited. It truly was like so insane.
Yeah. So in 60 seconds, we are going to get to know more Kismet on a deeper level. Are you ready for this? So this is rapid fire. Who is your celebrity crush?
Kit Connor.
What is your favorite food?
Pizza, hot wings, or steak.
Who is your dream collab?
Beyonce.
Oh, if you could be any animal, what would you be?
Unicorn.
That checks out. What about besides a unicorn?
Besides a unicorn, I think I would pick either a tiger or a lion.
Okay.
I don't know why, but it just feels like
The vibe is good.
cool, yeah.
Okay, what's your favorite TV show to binge?
Favorite TV show to binge is currently Common Side Effects on Adult Swim, but for the most part, prior to that, it would be The Amazing World of Gumball.
Okay. Favorite place to visit?
Favorite place to visit would probably be my mom's best friend's house in New Jersey. She is the best ever. I love her down.
Okay, dream place to visit?
Dream place to visit? Ooh, the Louvre in Paris.
Okay.
When I went to Paris, we didn't get a chance to, and I want to go back and visit there.
Okay, amazing. Plugin that you can't live without?
Thermal or Soundgoodizer?
That was pretty good. We got pretty far.
I've got your pleasure.
So I'm curious, I want to talk about the state of the EDM community and the scene. And I would consider you a pretty outspoken person. I feel like you are not afraid to speak your mind, to speak your truth, to say what needs to be said. I feel like you've kind of always been that way, whether it's out of necessity or...
For the most part, it's been out of necessity.
Yeah.
In part because if somebody says something, more people will have the courage to speak up as well. That's an incredibly important thing is that solidarity between everyone where it's just like, hey, you don't have to be afraid to talk about this stuff, you know?
Right.
Like it's
It should not be taboo.
at all.
Right.
At all, because
Right.
I think the more open of a conversation we have about shit and the more people are outwardly fed up with it, a change will actually start to be made. Like, a change will be made.
Well, and I think what's interesting is that it starts with a cultural shift, and what is more cultural than music and community and dance music even, especially like the festivals, the clubs, the spaces. And so I'm curious about your thoughts about this discourse of you see a lot of people who are like, you know, keep politics off the dance floor and simultaneously have for some reason a hard time acknowledging like the roots of dance music. And how are you kind of moving around that?
Dance music and most forms of music that exist to this very day were pioneered by or largely spawned and carried along by Black people. Dance music specifically was spawned by Black queer people, Black gay men, in spaces where they felt they had a safe haven. I think when I've had conversations with people about the roots of dance music, I think for the most part they kind of have an understanding of it already, and so they kind of use that to inform the decisions they make moving forward. And then other times you have dumbasses on Twitter complaining about dragging politics and race and identity and sexuality into shit. When I was releasing on Never Say Die, I was constantly getting harassed by a bunch of people in the music scene from countries outside of the United States for being queer, for being Black, because they thought I was co-opting my identity and using my identity for clout as a way to try and get more people to listen to my shit.
Make it make sense.
You can't. You can make it make sense. I dealt with that harassment for so much of my youth in trying to kind of continue to get more Kismet off the ground, and people continue to have these preconceived notions about who I was, no matter how much I try to explain myself to people that, hey, I am just this. This is who I am. This is the exact kind of person I have nothing to hide about myself from any of you. So I really don't understand like where you're using your queer baiting, you're using your queerness for clout comes from. Because this is how I felt my whole life. It really is like such a massive bummer to kind of watch people be like, keep politics out of music. If you thought dance music at all, wasn't already inherently political, I need you to take a step back for 5 seconds. Take 5 seconds and stop and listen to one of your favorite artists and listen to like literally any music of theirs. Every single song in some capacity, regardless of the outcome, will be a marker of the time period of which it was written in. And you will be able to sense immediately from an emotional perspective what state the artists were in where they were writing that. Like you will be able to immediately pick up on that. If it reaches a point for you where you are willing to make the effort, because I promise you, so many more artists will be thankful that you are making an effort to truly understand their art for what it is and where it's coming from. If you take a minute to understand the implications of the place that we are in when we are creating things.
Okay. How do you handle online trolls?
Being very liberal with the block button. The block button and I were like this, you know, like yeah. we are fucking butt buddies. Like that's how fucking close me and the block button are on all platforms. Cause like you talking shit, block. Like we're not doing this. I don't have the fucking energy to deal with you. Like I'm just gonna block and I'm gonna move on, and you can live in your little angry bubble, and I'm chill. I'm cool.
Perfect. No notes.
Okay, ain't nobody fucking with the rainbow.
I think there's this kind of unfortunate sentiment that a lot of people have towards the industry and therefore these communities by proxy, where they look at it like a zero-sum game.
Yeah.
Because there's like a scarcity mindset of like, there are only so many opportunities because the music industry is really hard. But then we have these like pride events.
Right.
And then it's this idea of like, can we really not be featuring
More queer artists, especially queer artists that are also already kind of technically headliner status. I need somebody to book like Sam Smith as like a headliner for something. So like Sam Smith as like the pop girl headliner, and then like I don't know. Honestly, if we're being so real, give her the budget, Cobra.
Yeah.
As like the headliners for like a really niche like pride event. I feel like that could be so fucking massive. Like, and you would attract the community that is like out in the trenches right now fighting for our fucking rights and giving them a reason to continue to feel uplifted and connected to our community rather than kind of appeasing to a bunch of people who are singularly focused on the mainstream and who are more than likely not going to show up for and support the people who are opening and the people who are performing at doors or like in the middle of the day.
100%. 100%. And so this kind of leads me to another kind of couple of questions. Do you personally feel supported in the EDM community and in these spaces?
No. I'll say it like this. I'm very fortunate to have the friends that I have and the fans that I already do have because those are my ride or dies. I love them down. They mean everything to me. But as far as being like a Subtronics, John Summit, Res level act, selling out arenas left and right, doing these curated events with people that I believe in, there are a lot of times where I feel like I'm never going to get to that level because of just how much in my mind everyone fucking hates me. So to that effect, I would say no. I really don't feel that supported by anybody but the people closest to me and like the fans I already do have that are still sticking around and taking account of this project and taking into consideration like what I'm trying to do and the change I'm trying to affect in the scene.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's heartbreaking to hear as somebody who has been just watching you just succeed in so many really artistic ways. Like from an artistic perspective, from a production perspective, from an innovation perspective, you're killing it and you're dominating.
I'm making some of the best music of my entire career.
Right.
Barely anyone understands where I'm coming from. No one understands the story, the message I'm trying to exude. And when I'm literally putting it out there, sharing it, doing all that I can to try and be in people's faces like that,
Yeah.
it feels like in no way is it effective. And it bums me the fuck out because it's just like, what more could I be doing that feels authentic to me? I don't have the personality for TikTok. I really don't. And that's all I'm being told to do is make TikToks.
Not everybody is built for it. And unfortunately, it's become almost the standardization. And you're talking about this, and the gears in my brain are just like whizzing away because your experience is one that is actually not unfamiliar.
The crazy thing has been hearing that I'm not alone.
You are
in the
deeply
struggle.
not alone. The industry is changing so much that in a lot of ways, I think they don't even know what they're doing. When you're talking about, working with these large labels, and I know you had a stint with Universal.
I'm still, so I work with Thrive Music. Thrive is technically independent.
Okay, that's
However, their distribution aggregator is Virgin, so in turn, I'm still like technically releasing with Universal. It's all within the same system now. So my music, in one way or another, for the last, I would say, 4 or so years, has been distributed by Universal Music Group. And while I'm fortunate to be working with the people that I'm working with at Thrive, they're some of the most incredible people that I know. I love working with them, especially my A&R Carlos. He is one of the greatest human beings on the planet. I love him so much. There are a lot of complications that come with it because I'm interconnected with everybody at Thrive.
Yeah.
I'm becoming interconnected with everyone at Virgin, and everyone at Virgin has been rooting me on, and that has made me feel incredible.
Good.
But it's also just like the implications of still being very much so a very small cog of the major label pipeline. Like there's a blessing and a curse when it comes to kind of getting major label resources for a project and for stuff of that nature. Because for the most part, we're still doing a lot of shit on our own. Like all the promotional content, creative directed, animated, designed by me on my iPad for like hours straight to get out like the week of.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is so much fun for me. However, I still am very much so like, every time I make a teaser video, I'm being told like, you need to make this under 30 seconds so that way if you include any piece of the song, it doesn't get copyright striked. And there were multiple times throughout the Universe era where I was working on teaser videos for shit where I had to make different versions of teasers, and I was not comfortable with doing that, but I had no choice because of copyright bullshit.
Right.
And I had to go and reach out to them every time my shit did get copyright striked because of it not being up on my page. And so I was like, this is...
It's just
I
insane.
made the song. I own the master
Yeah.
rights. Why are you striking my shit?
I mean, also you're creating promotional content.
Yep.
And this is kind of what I'm talking about is like a lot of people don't understand that in the music industry, I think a lot of labels are kind of like, we don't really know what we're doing. Because
I mean, it really is kind of like figuring things out in a way.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, but like you can't figure things out like in the middle of a fucking rollout. Like that's not...
Right. That's not fair to you. That's so
No.
not fair to you. Let's talk about your record.
Okay.
I'm hyped for your record because everything that you've been dropping lately has been
Thank you.
just so good. How did you cultivate such this like shiny, bold sound?
I think it's just because a lot of the like mixing, like a lot of the mixing techniques that I kind of apply to my work now, like as I was like talking about earlier, like kind of finding a way to encapsulate that same like euphoric feeling in my records. And so like it's a lot of like brighter mixing, the sparkly samples, like the chimes and everything and stuff, and like finding ways to just make things feel very powerful and punchy and very like in your face in a way.
Yeah.
So that's been like the biggest part of it for me. Yeah.
You also sing on so many of your tracks, which is also really, really cool. Just as a side note, because you have so many collaborations with other singers. And so for you to be able to like do both, I think says a lot about you as an artist.
I think right now this album has the most tracks that I've sung on, whether it just be like ambient vocals in the background or like lead vocals.
Yeah.
When I'm creating ideas, I resonate with them so deeply where it's just like, if I hear a vocal idea, I'm going to try it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and I pass it along to somebody else.
Right.
But if it does, I build on it from there.
And that's kind of what I'm saying is that I think it says a lot about you as a producer and an artist, because I think sometimes I've had this conversation with a lot of artists where sometimes pride can really get in the way of something being finished. And for you to be the kind of artist and singer who's like, I'm going to try to sing this, but this might be a better collaboration.
Totally.
I feel like that really speaks to your strength as a producer.
Really? Thank you.
Because I think that's a hard thing to do,
Very.
to be that discerning.
Yeah.
But I was listening to your new singles and it was like there are vocals on it, and I noticed there was no feature, and I was like, oh shit, what?
That was a very emotional song to try and finish, because it kind of was like a deeper encapsulation of what I was already kind of expressing to you earlier, just kind of like these feelings of not really feeling very loved by people and feeling like, am I crazy for feeling this way? Like, am I bitter? Like, what is going on? Like, why am I feeling this way? And that song was kind of me not even unpacking it really, but it's more so just kind of like getting it out there so people know, like, hey, I'm not feeling so hot.
Yeah.
And this is not really intended to be a cry for help. It's just like, I want to tell you how I'm feeling, because if I didn't, it would be doing a disservice.
Well, it's honest. This is literally what art is for.
Yeah.
This is 100% what it is for. And we're so glad that you share it.
Thank you.
You know, because I think also I'm sure that you experience it from time to time where people are reaching out to you with similar experiences.
Definitely.
And they need you. They really need you.
Which is it's so crazy to think about because like I mean that's the goal I've had for a very long time. But yeah, I'm just it's truly so surreal.
Yeah. It's secret sauce time. What do you have for us today?
So I am going to be showing you how I utilize vocals as an instrument in my music. And to do that, I am going to attempt to create a beat from scratch right here and show you how to do that.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm gonna go in like my library and like find some vocals from like random songs. Okay, that's from a DJ Snake song. So FL has this really cool thing that allows you to do stem separation, similarly to how you would do on like Vocal Remover or Lala AI, where you can separate stems in FL, like directly in FL.
Okay.
And it separates them by drums, instruments, bass, and vocals. I'm going to extract the vocals from this sample that I just pulled out. And so immediately though, one of the first things I will probably do is pull up a vocal chain that I made when I was younger called the Ambient Vocals Processing Chain. And it's literally just like a compressor called Soundgoodizer, which is native to FL, some EQ to kind of make it more filtered, and then a stock reverb and delay to kind of make it all angelic and ethereal and stuff. Okay, so we have the reminder.vocal now. This is what it sounds like.
Talk, all you wanna do is talk.
And for context, we had this loud ass piano.
Whoa.
All you wanna do is talk.
Yeah.
Talk.
So I'm gonna just like speed it up to the tempo.
All I wanted was talk. All you wanna do is talk.
So already like right off the bat, I'm kind of going in trying to do chops. Actually, let me put my soft clipper on the master here and then save this just in case. Okay. So now the vocals are assigned to a mixer channel in FL. I'm going to open up my processing chain, and already it makes a massive difference. Yeah.
Literally the first word that came to mind, I was like, oh, it's sauced.
Yep. It does kind of sound like sauce.
And what are you using for like reverb delay?
I'm using stock reverb and delay, so Fruity Delay 2, Fruity Reverb 2. It's very simplistic, very, it's doing a lot with a little,
Okay. This sounds great.
Thank you. So now I need to see what key this is in. Opening up a stock plugin called 3x OSC, which is kind of like a simplified version of Operator,
Okay.
but for FL. C sharp minor.
I'm so easily impressed by you.
Oh
all
my
you do
god.
is put a stupid sine wave on something and just like boop, and I'm just like, yeah, play that shit.
Okay, I'm now gonna try to do sound design without hearing the sub bass.
Right. Give me that computer music.
Yeah.
Give me that dial-up sound.
Okay. If I go in here and I type in demo, because I think I named most of my vocal files. Okay, this is from a different song of mine, like a different demo from eons ago. Yeah, so I yeah, pick this up.
This is nutty.
So I'm like slowing it down.
I'm so impressed with how smooth this is. Like there aren't a lot of artifacts.
That's because of the stretch mode. So
Yeah.
FL has a myriad of different stretch modes, but for doing stuff like this to kind of, even though you're going to kind of make it relatively indistinguishable in the end with all the processing and stuff, they have a stretch mode. They have two stretch modes actually called Stretch and Stretch Pro. And the way that it works is with stretch mode specifically, it stretches it out and retains as much of the transient and formant information as possible. With Stretch Pro, it allows you to change the formant information to go higher or lower.
Right.
And so I normally do Stretch Pro, but there are some instances where I move it to Stretch Pro and it retains the original formants of the sample in the original key. So it sounds like this.
Right. Nice.
Yeah. So Stretch mode is the cleanest.
Yeah, so smooth.
Yeah. I'm gonna pitch it up. And now it's on the same vocal chain. So
Oh.
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so yeah, I just want to pitch it down a little bit.
I'm like, am I mad right now?
Do some like filter automation stuff with the bass sound.
Yeah.
Now
What is that?
I'm doing a pitch envelope to
Oh yeah,
make
yeah.
it make it punchier a little bit. Again, imagine you guys, I'm doing this all without hearing the mixing, so I have to do all of this shit by ear.
Okay.
Put it on the offbeat.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I just, and like from here I kind of have a basis of something that I like. So from here I can kind of like start working out the rhythm and the details and everything. Honestly, it really does just start with like me creating a melodic idea, and then I kind of build off of that from there with percussion and drums, and then from there I kind of expand on the idea outwardly from there.
The fact that you start with melodic ideas checks out so much. Ooh. Let's go.
I'm gonna go octave higher. Yeah.
Oh, hold on. Okay.
That's the same plugin I showed you
Is
earlier.
the OS3?
Yeah.
OSC3?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 times OS8. Yep, it's so good.
Yeah.
It really, it's like just like straight up like 3 oscillators, and you like for most sound design I do, I have one be the subharmonic, one be the sub, one be the harmonic, and then another one be like either an added harmonic for a more metallic-y, corpusy kind of sound built in, or more often than not, a noise that I can
Yeah.
that I can amplitude modulate. Yeah.
So sick.
It's the coolest shit ever, and I feel like you can make the most insane shit on the planet.
Yeah, because
with
that
this.
that is like that sound.
Yeah.
I would totally identify with you. Like it's got that.
Like kind of a glossy, like
Yeah. Ooh. I think I'm upset now.
why? No.
This is so. You're stupid. You're so dumb.
Hey, that's not for you, bitch!
I literally just finished up. This is a exclusive. Ooh. I just finished up a song for my project that's like a Brazilian funk EDM like bass music crossover. It's the coolest shit ever. I wrote it with an incredible artist by the name of Karan. He is so talented. And I just finished this, like, I'm not even joking, like, yesterday. Just for context, like, I'll play it from the build up. I'll
Okay.
do the F12 real quick just to make sure that we'd have no issues with CPU. But
Oh no. Oh no.
Hey, that's not for you, bitch!
Oh. You know what? Oh my god. If I heard that live,
I cannot wait to play this I cannot wait to play this
I feel like my heart would drop out of my asshole if I heard this live.
that's like kind of that's the goal. But yeah,
That's
so
so sick.
thank
That's so
you.
sick. So that is today's episode of The Sauce Factory. More Kismet. Thank you so much.
thank you so much for having me, Jess. I love you so much. Thank you for having me. Be a part of
Yeah,
this.
you are welcome back whenever.
Thank you very much.
And please plug your record. When does it come out?
It comes out sometime this summer, date TBA, but if you want to stay up to date with when that might possibly come out, you can follow me on all social platforms. I am just More Kismet. But yeah, I'm very excited. I hope that those of you who do find me from this podcast can get into my music. And if you do, I hope that you enjoy it. I love creating things that make people feel something good in their hearts, and I hope that it makes you feel something good in your heart.
Well, I mean, if that demo session was anything, I felt something. So thank you, More Kismet, for being on the show. Please,
Thank you.
everybody, follow More Kismet on socials. And if you want to support the show, all of the links to all of the streaming are down below. We do not have sponsors right now, so the best thing that you can do is just tell your friends that we exist
Absolutely.
and that we are doing this. And also, as a token of my appreciation and gratitude for you being
What?
here, I present to you my secret sauce.
Get the fuck out of here. You made a hot sauce?
And it's my gift to my guests. It's very exclusive. I only make so many. Thank you for being here.
Thank you
and
for having
thank
me.
you to Mama Kismet, who's been in the studio. She's
Yes.
out in the hallway.
Yes, shout out mom, my ride or
Yeah.
die.
Yes, we love Mama Kismet. And I hope she also enjoys the sauce.
We cook a lot, so I think
Good.
it's gonna be a very awesome addition to our already existing ingredient catalog. So
Yeah, absolutely. Well, until next time, thank you so much.
thank you.
All right, that's all we got today, folks.
Bye.
Bye.
I've got your pleasure.
Yeah, I mean,
Wait, Sniffies?
I don't know, but my
Stop calling me a child. I know what this shit is, okay? That's all right. I already know where this is going. Don't be up in the comments like, why do you know this stuff? Because I am a homosexual, you guys. Do you read this? I'm gay.